Before we go anywhere, handle the logistics like an adult. Our latest Patreon video is called 7 Hard Lessons About Women Most Men Learn Too Late in Life. It exists because most men prefer comforting lies to useful truths. And if you want coaching, the link is in the description and pinned comment. That's where men go when patterns stop being amusing and start being expensive. Now here's the hook. And if this doesn't sting, you're probably beyond help. When you stop trying to keep her interested, she doesn't feel abandoned. She feels exposed. That assumption alone will carry you further than years of trying harder, explaining yourself, or becoming more emotionally available, like a trained therapy dog. Men are taught that women want effort, pursuit, reassurance, and emotional maintenance. That's partially true, at the beginning. But once attraction is established, continued effort without resistance doesn't deepen desire. It anesthetizes it. When you stop trying to keep her interested, you interrupt a rhythm she didn't realize she was relying on. And what she feels in that interruption isn't boredom. It's a sudden loss of control over the narrative. At first, she feels confused. Not dramatic confusion, not tears on the floor confusion. A quiet, internal recalculation. You didn't lean in when expected. You didn't correct the distance. You didn't rush to re-stimulate the connection. The script broke. Most men panic at this stage. They misinterpret her confusion as disinterest and rush to perform. That's why they never learn what happens next. What she actually feels is the return of tension. Women don't experience attraction as a constant emotion. It's a response to contrast. When you stop trying to keep her interested, you stop managing her emotional state for her. That forces her to do something most men never allow her to do. Wonder. Wonder is dangerous. Wonder revives curiosity. Curiosity reactivates attraction. This is where simps lose their minds. They believe attraction is maintained through continuous proof of value. So when they stop trying, even accidentally, they feel guilty, as if desire is a houseplant that dies the moment you forget to water it. In reality, overwatering drowns the roots. When you don't try to keep her interested, she feels a subtle threat. Not that you're leaving, but that you might not need her attention to feel validated. That possibility forces her to reassess her position in your mental hierarchy. And nothing sharpens a woman's interest faster than realizing she might not be the center of the room anymore. Here's where the psychology turns cold and precise. A study published in the Journal of Experimental Social Psychology found that perceived scarcity of attention increased romantic interest and cognitive fixation, while excessive reassurance reduced perceived value and desirability. In simpler terms, when attention is no longer guaranteed, the brain assigns it more weight. You didn't become more attractive by withdrawing. You became more uncertain. And uncertainty is the raw material of desire. Now let's dismantle the fantasy that this makes women victims. It doesn't. Women who understand this dynamic play it effortlessly. They pull back when men overinvest. They let silence do the work. They allow men to chase their own projections. I respect that. It's efficient. It weeds out the needy and rewards the patient. Men, on the other hand, are taught to eliminate uncertainty at all costs, to clarify, to reassure, to lock things down. They think stability creates desire. Stability creates comfort. Comfort kills curiosity. Curiosity is what you're actually trying to protect. When you don't try to keep her interested, she starts scanning her emotional environment. She notices the absence of your effort not as neglect, but as a vacuum. And the human mind hates vacuums. It fills them with assumptions, usually flattering ones at first. She wonders what has your attention now. She wonders if she miscalculated her impact. She wonders if she revealed her hand too early. These thoughts don't come from insecurity alone. They come from the sudden loss of predictability. Predictability is poison to desire. Men who constantly try to keep women interested become predictable performers. Men who can stop performing without anxiety become enigmas. Enigmas don't explain themselves. They don't rush to restore balance. They let imbalance create movement. This is where the dark humor comes in. The same men who complain that women lose interest for no reason are often the ones who never stop trying. They chased interest like a moving target, not realizing the chase itself was the reason it kept moving. When you don't try, you signal something dangerous. You are not desperate for her approval. That forces her to confront a question she'd rather avoid. Is she choosing you, or are you choosing her? When effort drops and attraction doesn't immediately collapse, she realizes she's more invested than she thought. That realization can go one of two ways. She either leans in to regain emotional leverage, or she exits to protect her ego. Both outcomes are victories. One reveals desire, the other reveals fragility. Men obsessed with being liked avoid this moment. They'd rather stay in a lukewarm dynamic forever than risk discovering the truth. Men who understand power let the truth surface quickly. And let's be clear, not trying doesn't mean being cold, cruel, or performatively distant. It means you stop compensating. You stop filling silence. You stop smoothing every wrinkle in the interaction. You allow her to experience the relationship without constant emotional scaffolding. What she feels in that space is not neglect. It's responsibility. Responsibility for her own attraction. That's terrifying for someone used to being entertained, reassured, and pursued. Here's the part men never admit. When you stop trying to keep her interested, you're also testing yourself. Can you tolerate ambiguity? Can you resist the urge to chase comfort? Can you let someone sit with their feelings without rescuing them from uncertainty? Most can't. They relapse into effort like addicts into familiar habits. Your homework is simple, uncomfortable, and revealing. The next time you feel the urge to do something to keep a woman engaged, send the text, escalate the plan, clarify the vibe. Don't. Pause. Sit with the discomfort. Ask yourself whether the action is coming from desire or fear. Then do nothing. Observe what happens over the next days, not minutes. Does she reach out differently? Does her tone shift? Does she probe for reassurance? Or does she fade? Each response tells you exactly how attraction was functioning beneath the surface. Write down what you feel during this pause. The anxiety, the impulse, the fantasies of loss. That emotional turbulence is the price of leverage. If you can't pay it, you'll always overinvest. And understand this. Not every woman will respond with increased interest. Some will leave. Good. That's not failure. That's filtration. Desire that requires constant maintenance isn't desire. It's dependency. Toward the end, if this video rattled something familiar, subscribe. Not because you owe anything, but because repetition sharpens instinct. One video entertains. A body of work rewires how you move. And comment this below. What happened the last time you stopped trying to keep someone interested? Did they lean in, pull away, or expose something you'd been ignoring? Your answer will tell you more about your patterns than any advice ever could. When you stop trying to keep her interested, she finally gets the chance to decide whether she actually is. And that moment, quiet, uncomfortable, unscripted, is where real power lives. Welcome to the dark side of your mind, an armory disguised as advice. Everything here exists to give you clarity sharper than the games being played against you. The reading is where I dissect your situation with precision. What he meant, what he didn't, what you missed. About 1,000 words, plus one follow-up question to tighten the strategy. The case file is the full autopsy, a complete psychological breakdown in writing, plus a private audio message so you hear the parts most people avoid. One follow-up to lock it in. If you want speed, there's the whisper. 400 words. Direct. Unfiltered. No extra dialogue. If you prefer tone and voice, the weight of the message itself, the transmission gives you a private audio response. No follow-up. No hand-holding. And if your situation is messy enough for multiple angles, buy 2 services, and the third is free. Strategy rewards commitment. If you want the truth delivered publicly, without exposing yourself, there's the public whisper. One question, one strategic answer, posted for others to learn from. Short, clean, no follow-up. You already know why you're here. You ask your question, and within 72 hours, you get clarity most people never develop. Emotional discipline, psychological leverage, the ability to stop repeating patterns that drain you. The dark side of your mind isn't here to soothe you. It's here to change how you move.